Have you ever read a sentence and felt a sudden clarity? Then after some time you realize that clarity left nothing behind. It's not that you forgot the sentence, but that the sentence never truly changed the way you see anything. You only felt something loosen in the moment you read it, then nothing happened. Now you scroll through various content, vaguely sensing something is off, but you can't articulate what's wrong. It sounds reasonable, logically coherent, even evokes a slight resonance in you. But something makes you pause. Is this true? Or does it just sound true? You find you have no way to answer this question, not because you're not smart enough, but because that line is getting harder and harder to find. We usually think the problem with toxic positivity is that its content is false, but the most insidious toxic positivity doesn't have false content. It might be true, or at least half true. Your suffering comes from wanting too much. This sentence is true from a certain angle. Accept your ordinariness and you'll be happier. This sentence is true in certain circumstances. What others think of you doesn't matter. What matters is what you think of yourself. This sentence has its moments of validity. You can't say these statements are wrong, because they're not entirely wrong, but you sense something is off. That wrongness isn't in the content of the sentence, it's in what it does to you. Wisdom and toxic positivity have one fundamental difference. Wisdom opens you, toxic positivity closes you. Wisdom makes you start thinking about more things after reading it. It gives you a new perspective. You use that perspective to look at your life, and you see things you hadn't seen before. It creates new questions, not just gives you answers. Toxic positivity makes you stop thinking after reading it. It gives you a feeling, okay, this matter is settled. I don't need to think about it anymore. It closes questions, giving you an illusion of having arrived. That feeling of sudden clarity exists in both wisdom and toxic positivity, but they are two completely different kinds of clarity. You can't distinguish toxic positivity from wisdom, not because your judgment is lacking, but because you're looking at the content of the sentence, but that line isn't in the content. It's in whether your thinking opens or closes after reading that sentence. But here's a problem. The same sentence opens one person and closes another. Accept your ordinariness. For someone who has been tormenting themselves with unrealistic standards, this sentence might be a genuine loosening, allowing them to catch their breath from that torment for the first time. For someone using accepting ordinariness to avoid what they should really be doing, this sentence is a permission slip, allowing them to no longer face what they've been avoiding. Same sentence, same content, completely opposite effects. So is the difference between wisdom and toxic positivity in the words or in the person? This question has no comfortable answer, because the answer is both. Some statements are designed to shut down thinking. They give you a conclusion that doesn't require further thought, in a way that sounds profound. But some statements are inherently open, just received differently by different people. The key lies in your posture of receiving it. You read a sentence, feel sudden clarity, then what do? You stop at that clarity, feel satisfied, then scroll to the next item. This is using it to stop thinking. You stop at that clarity, then you start thinking, what is this sentence saying? Under what circumstances does it hold true? Under what circumstances does it not? What does it have to do with my own situation? This is using it to think. Same sentence, same feeling of sudden clarity, two completely different follow-ups. The first way, that sentence comes in, then disappears, leaving nothing behind. The second way, that sentence comes in, collides with what you already have. And after the collision, somewhere on your cognitive map is different from yesterday. This is what wisdom truly does. Not give you an answer, but open a new crack in your cognitive map. But the deepest thing hasn't been said yet. Why is toxic positivity becoming more insidious? Not because it's gotten smarter, but because it has learned to mimic wisdom's most core characteristic. Not mimicking wisdom's content, not mimicking wisdom's tone, but mimicking the feeling. Wisdom gives people sudden clarity, and there are two kinds of sudden clarity that from the inside feel almost identical. The first kind of sudden clarity You truly see something clearly. That clarity is real. It changes the way you see something, and that change is permanent. After today, the way you see that thing is different from yesterday. The second kind of sudden clarity, you finally don't need to think about it anymore. That relief is real. It liberates you from a kind of unresolved tension. But that tension existed because that thing originally needed you to keep thinking about it. You stopped, not because you arrived, but because that sentence gave you a reason to stop. These two feelings are indistinguishable from the outside. From the inside, they feel almost identical. Both are a kind of loosening, a lightness, a feeling that something suddenly became clear, but their directions are completely opposite. The first kind, after that sudden clarity, you can see something more clearly than before. The second kind, after that sudden clarity, it's harder for you to see that thing clearly than before, because you already feel it's been resolved. You won't look at it again. Toxic positivity is becoming more insidious because it's creating the second kind of sudden clarity more precisely, making it look like the first kind. It no longer deceives you with false content. It deceives you with genuine feelings. And that feeling is the hardest thing for you to question, because it's something you felt yourself. Back to the opening scene. You read a sentence, felt sudden clarity, then nothing was left behind. You now know what that was. It's not that the sentence was false, it's that the sudden clarity was the second kind. You finally don't need to think about it anymore. The relief of not needing to think anymore feels almost the same as the relief of truly seeing something clearly. But the directions are completely opposite. So judging whether a sentence is wisdom isn't about asking if it's right or wrong. It's about asking yourself one question after that sudden clarity. Do I now want to keep thinking about this more than before, or less? More. That sudden clarity opened you. Less. That sudden clarity closed you. This question is simple, but you need to ask it while that feeling is still warm. Because the smartest thing about toxic positivity is that it makes you feel you've already arrived. People who have already arrived don't ask for directions anymore.